I started my career in accounting and finance and worked my way up to a CFO position, and then I decided to make a career shift, and it was a pretty dramatic one. I had an undergraduate degree or a minor actually, in data processing, which was what it was called then, and I really wanted to get into IT. So I shifted away from that and moved into a vice president of IT position. Spent quite a bit of my career, actually the majority of my career now, is in the IT realm, although I did have one more turn, which actually involved Browning. But I spent most of my time in the IT area, had all the IT disciplines reporting to me, and pretty much had done a lot of my career pretty much the traditional way, which was, job postings and that type of thing, and didn't do a lot of networking, and didn't spend a lot of time building out my network at all. That is pretty much when I decided to seek out a new direction. I was having a little bit of difficulty at the ski level finding another opportunity, so I spent about the first of what was 2 years of unemployment, the first year doing it the old way, my way, the way that I thought was the right way to do it. And while I had a few opportunities present themselves, nothing really was what I wanted. And what I really wanted to do was make a career change from CIO to a CISO. I had not been able to focus really on a Chief Information Security Officer role, and I really wanted to do that with my career, and had not been successful because most of the CISOs out there have very long histories of being in information security or heavily certified, and I did not have those things, although I have an extensive background, again, in history as a CIO. At that point, I found John and the Browning Associates group kind of by fluke. I actually was reading about them and decided to look up the organization and do a little research on them, and was intrigued with the idea that building a network was really the way to go, and the traditional methods that most of us, I'm sure on the call, or at least for myself, had used were really not the way to go, and they were not the way of the future. So I reached out, had an initial conversation with John about it, and was put in contact with my lead person, worked with her extensively on rebuilding my resume. I thought I had a pretty good resume, but it was nothing like what Browning helped me build. And then, of course, my LinkedIn profile was kind of a mess, and so we spent quite a bit of time rebuilding that as well. But probably the most important part, that was great, and I really appreciated that, but probably the most important part was the coaching I got going through the process. And throughout the process, I was continually asked, well, what is it you really want to do? Well, I could be this, I could be that, and they kept coming back to, no, what is it you really are passionate about? What is it you really want to do? And during this process, of course, I was coached, like most of the folks who Browning, to build my network, look at my existing network, which is pretty woeful, and then start building out that network. I was really doubtful that was going to work, but I thought, what an interesting concept, and what I'd been doing for up to that point about a year hadn't worked anyway, so I thought, well, let's give this a try. And as we all know, who've been part of this network, that it is all about networking, and Browning helped me build out an extensive network of folks in the information security area that I had not built out previously. And long story short, I got a call from an individual who I'd been on an advisory board with, who said, I need a CISO. It's a great company, and I'd love to have you come in and interview for it. And I did. I landed the job, and I was able to spend the last 4 years in a CISO position, which was great for my career, and I really enjoyed it. And I've shifted back to the CIO position. Once again, though, it was based on a networking opportunity. The way I would summarize my career was that it had been pretty predictable up until the time in which I joined the Browning Associates. And once I actually made the big leap and joined that team, I really was able to really expand the view of my career, what I wanted to do, be more discerning in the roles that I wanted to select, and of course built out a huge network of contacts that I still maintain today and that I'm in contact with regularly. One of the things that surprised me during the process with Browning, and I kept asking this question, why would anybody want to talk to somebody who's unemployed? And I kept getting encouraged with, you'd be amazed, you'd be surprised, you'd be so surprised, make the calls, make the calls, make the calls. And so I did, and it was really fascinating to me how many people in the industry who I'd worked with, who I hadn't maintained much contact with, really did want to connect, really did want to find out what's going on, and did want to help me with my career search. So it starts out small, and it starts out with a great deal of discomfort for me, because I was not used to doing this type of thing, which I'm sure is the case for a lot of the folks who work with Browning. But it becomes something that's much deeper and much more prolonged than what you would expect. So most people, I'm sure, are thinking, okay, I'll network and get my next job, and then I'll drop this, and I won't have to do this anymore, thank goodness. But what happens is, as you do it, you see so many of the benefits of it that you begin to make it part of your daily routine, part of your regular process of your career. So it becomes ingrained into your career. And now I seek networking opportunities. I mean, I'll go to a conference, and if I don't get 50 new contacts out of a conference or new networking opportunities to meet new people, I'm disappointed. When I went to conferences previously, it was like, oh my goodness, I'll just go sit through the technical sessions, learn as much as I can about it, and if I don't talk to anybody, that's great. So it's very, very different, and it really does become part of the fabric of your thought process and your thinking. It's all part of a new me that came out of the Browning Associates experience that I think is a better me, and certainly one that I think is more well-rounded than I was before.